Okay, guys. Hey, guys. Alright, 3, 2, alright, man. Whatever. Hey, guys. It's your boy King. Ain't back for a brand new video, man. Man, my back's hurting, but you know what it be, man. You know what it is, man. You boys still gotta record. You know what I'm saying? Still gotta film. This is my day 2. I'm feeling good. Besides my back hurting, like I've been like every now and then. Now, yesterday I recorded and posted. Today I'm gonna record and post. I feel good. I might post 2 videos today. Let's all be real. It's probably gonna be 1, but I'm hoping I'm gonna be doing 2. Hey man, it is what it is. I know I said I was gonna react to the last story. Chose not to. We got this little gremlin right here. We got 3 unsettling Christmas horror stories. So let's get straight into it, man. 3, 2. Hey, you know what, man? We might only do 2 stories or 1. You know what I'm saying? Cause these videos, the videos I've been posting lately are pretty long. If you know, it is pretty long. I might gonna have to cut it short. Maybe 2 or 1 stories. But let's get straight into it.
Memory of one Christmas
Oh yeah, like and subscribe.
day. My son was 5 years old when this incident happened. After the separation from my husband, Damien was my everything.
Okay.
He was always nice to people and good with kids at school. Whenever I went to pick him up from school, I always saw him surrounded by friends. I was happy to see him fitting in nicely with groups. The week before Christmas, Damien's school staged a children's play. After the show ended, I was driving home with him. I was praising him for his excellent performance in the play.
Think about how can I should I put a chair here and sit?
When he just told me, "I made a new friend today, Mom." I smiled back and said, "You've been such a good boy this year, and I'm sure Santa will bring you lots of gifts for Christmas." His face lit up when I
I'm not gonna ask who his friends is.
I told him that. We got back home and had dinner. I tucked Damien into bed and he went to sleep. The next morning, when I woke up and went to the kitchen to make breakfast, I noticed the cookie jar was broken. Shattered glass and cookies were lying all over the kitchen floor. I got really pissed off and called Damien into the room. Damien was brushing his teeth and came to the kitchen about 10 minutes later.
Okay.
He looked up at me and said, "What is it, Mom?" I said in an angry voice, "Did you break the cookie jar last night?" He shook his head and said, "No, it wasn't me." I said, "Really? Then who was it?" Damien looked at me and said, "It was Mr. Nobody." As I was in no mood for such jokes, I got even more angry and said, "Don't you try to fool me, Damien." Damien started to sob and said, "I am telling the truth, Mom. I told you I made a friend yesterday. He said his name was Mr. Nobody. He was the one who broke the cookie jar last night." Then he started to cry. I picked him up into a big hug and decided to drop the issue.
What's up with these
I
ads,
figured, like every other child,
Damn. Hey man, you gotta get the ads. Well, not me. I am eating.
too had an imaginary friend.
Not the time that we were making.
And due to the fear of being grounded, he was just making up a story. Christmas was now 2 days away. My ex-husband called and said that he'd like to join us for Christmas dinner. I knew how much Damien missed his father, so, for his sake, I decided to put aside our marital issues for one night. That evening, I was doing house chores when I heard Damien's footsteps in my room. "Damien, how many times have I told you not to play in my room?" I screamed out loudly. I could see a shadow.
Niggas, you know, when you're balls itching, man, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do, man. Like, you don't know what to do. Like, damn, like, especially if you're in public. Sucks.
Shadow moving on the wall opposite my bedroom door. I rushed to the corridor to scold Damien. I was about to peek inside when I heard Damien's voice from behind me. "Mom, I'm hungry." I was shocked and absolutely terrified at the same time. I slowly walked towards him and said, "Did you go into my room?" But Damien said, "No, I was in my room," and did something really creepy. He looked over my shoulder as if someone was standing behind me. I immediately turned around, but didn't see anyone there. Later on, I checked my room and the entire house, but all the doors and windows were already locked. Also, there was no sign of any forced entry. I got really worried this time and noticed weird things happening around the house. I started decorating the house as Christmas was knocking on the door. But sometimes I noticed things being misplaced from their positions. Like if I kept a lamp beside the porch in the living room and left for a few minutes, I always ended up finding it in the corner of the wall. Damien was too...
I would have left. Right there, I would have moved. Right there, I would have moved. Damn, that's crazy. I'm moving.
Small to lift such a heavy lamp, and there was no one else in the house. One night, I went to the kitchen to get a glass of water and thought to check on Damien on my way back. As I got close to his door, I heard his voice talking. He was speaking to someone. He talked in a very low voice, but I could still hear him. Damien was saying, "You can't walk around the house at night like this. If Mom sees you, she won't let you stay with us." I immediately entered his room, thinking someone broke into our house, but there was no one inside. Damien was sitting on his bed nervously. I asked him, "Who were you talking to?" He looked towards his closet and then looked back at me. I said in a tensed voice, "Damien, you are scaring me now. Is there anyone in your room?" He still didn't say anything and just kept staring at me. I went to the closet and opened the door with my trembling hand. There was no one inside. I heaved a sigh of relief and scolded Damien for
That's the time to move, man.
staying awake so late. I tucked him into bed and went to bed myself. I couldn't sleep that night. Damien's weird behavior had me worried. The next day was the day before Christmas, so I decided to take Damien to the mall to let him buy things for decorating the Christmas tree. We had a fun time and I bought him some ice cream. On our way back, I asked Damien, "How's your friend, Damien?" He said, "Which friend, Mom?" I said in a hesitated manner, "Your new friend, Mr. Nobody." Damien's face turned sad and he said, "I don't think we're friends anymore, Mom." I asked, "Why is that?" He replied, "He doesn't listen to me. Also, I feel scared of him." I was really quite shocked to hear him talk about his imaginary friend as if it were real. After getting back home, I told Damien, "What does Mr. Nobody look like, Damien?" He went to his room and brought me a drawing he had made. When I looked at the first page, I saw a very creepy figure. Damien drew himself on the bed, and there was a thin, triangle-faced man standing beside him. The man had a huge smile on his face, like someone had cut his mouth from one ear to the other. His eyes were huge, and his eyeballs were blood red. The picture disturbed me to the core. I turned to Damien and said, "How did you meet this guy?" He said Mr. Nobody came to watch him play and asked to come to our house with him. I felt goosebumps on my skin. I said in a low voice, "Do you mean he lives in our house now?" Damien once again looked behind me, and I was about to turn around when the doorbell rang. The doorbell scared the shit out of me, but I somehow managed not to let my fears show.
This is how fast YouTube is with Brave. Notice how there's no pre-roll ads? And here's how you can see how much time you save with Brave.
As I opened the door, I saw Paul standing in the doorway. Paul is my ex-husband. We exchanged smiles and I let him in the house. Damien was so excited to see him just before Christmas, and they both started to decorate the Christmas tree. I couldn't shake the terrible feeling about Damien's imaginary friend, Mr. Nobody. After dinner, as Damien was put to sleep, I told Paul about all of this. He laughed and told me that I shouldn't be taking a kid's imagination so seriously. And that's the main thing I hated about Paul. He never took me serious.
But sometimes you do need to take your kids serious.
Unless we got into trouble. The same thing happened in this case as well. On Christmas morning, we were all feeling excited. I went to Damien's room and woke him and Paul up, as Paul was sleeping in his room. We all came to the living room and witnessed a shocking scene. The Christmas tree.
Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Alright, can you guys hear me? guys. Guys. Alright, it says. Okay. Alright, what? Alright. This is just weird. What am I gonna do? Cause like I have this thing, right? Maybe it's plugged in the wrong thing. No. Guys. Hello. Guys. Okay, so it's still getting the volume from here. Ah, man. I don't know. Hey. Oh no, I'm gonna have to. After today, I'm probably gonna have to like find out a way to like fix this. This probably gonna be.
Was in complete ruins.
Yeah, this is gonna be the only video we're gonna react to. I'm gonna have to learn how to fix this.
It seemed like someone scratched it with something sharp and pointy. The toys and ornaments we hung on the Damien. But Damien started to cry and said, "Trust me, Mom, it's Mr. Nobody. He broke the Christmas tree." Down our son. We had everything opening and smiling. Paul and I understood I was still disturbed with everything going on in the house. He spoke in a low voice. "You should probably leave this house and move somewhere else. I can arrange that for you and Damien." I was already thinking about that. I nodded to Paul's suggestion and agreed to take his help on this matter. We were all set on leaving the house the next morning and staying in his bed, voice. I rushed to him, so I will never be able to forget what I saw in that room, but I can say with great assurance that I wasn't imagining it. I saw a thin, triangle-faced man lying on the ceiling over Damien's bed and looking directly at him with his blood-red, angry eyes. Damien was sitting on his bed and sobbing in
Man, I would've. And if it's dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what I would do.
fear. He was so horrified that he could barely cry out loud. I screamed at the top of my lungs, opening his huge, dark mouth. His howl sounded like it didn't belong in this world. My scream and came second. The next morning, we went back to my house and packed a few necessary things before leaving for my parents' house. I left Damien inside the car because I didn't want him to step inside this house ever again. As we got into the car, after getting everything from the house, Paul started the engine. Damien was sitting behind me.
What's that?
After getting everything
Look right here. Look right here.
from the house, Paul started the engine. Damien was sitting behind me. He looked back at the house and said, "Look, Mom, Mr. Nobody is waving goodbye to us. He's got a smile back on his face." I don't know who this Mr. Nobody was, but my mother said it might have been a demonic spirit who followed my son home. We took Damien to a psychiatrist. Due to my parents' pressure, I also took Damien to see a priest. He conducted a few rituals, saying it was to bless my son's aura and soul. Now, I don't know how much it helped, but Damien hasn't seen Mr. Nobody after that.
Man, I hope you guys understand. I'm gonna have to do some things, but I hope you guys understand. So I hope you guys really like this video and enjoy this video, man. I hope you guys like and subscribe. I'll fix the fan, and I'll try to use this so you guys won't hear it. Man, anyway, guys, hope you guys have an amazing day, and see you guys. Oh my goodness. Alright, stop recording.